It's time to be spoiled. Welcome to my spoiler review of Dark Phoenix. I'm warning you now, only once, this video is gonna be full of spoilers. So watch at your own risk. Okay, I have so much to say that I could not say in the first review because that was non-spoiler. It's time to get it all out. So, the movie starts off with Jean Grey basically kind of killing her mom. She somehow makes her mom fall asleep at the wheel or something like that. I didn't really understand if she made her fall asleep or if she just caused the crash, what her powers really did. Anyways, she put like a bubble around herself and her mom died. So it just kind of showed that she always had a little root. Not of evil, but of like, kind of like evil. And then Charles finds her and takes her, and I thought that scene was kind of boring, but it was important to the movie later on. I was like, why is this the opening? But then it was fine because when the movie actually started, it got real good. So a bunch of astronauts got stuck in space because of the Phoenix Force. It like attacked them or something like that. And mutants are starting to be kind of like praised, almost like celebrities. So Charles is getting kind of a little big head, well, a big bald head. And so he sends his X-Men to go and save these astronauts to kind of get the glory. Like, he's not evil, he just kind of like, you know, is kind of enjoying being the hero, you know? Which I liked because sometimes when characters are too perfect, they get annoying. So I like that it showed one of Charles's flaws, you know? Anyways, they take off in their jet. The score in this scene is beautiful. It's like swelling and it's just like, yes! It's so epic. The whole space scene is like my favorite scene in the whole movie, which is kind of sad because it's at the beginning, so it's like, okay, that's it. Anyways, they get up there and Mystique is like in control. She's like the leader, and I love this scene so much because she's like literally telling all of them what to do, where to go, and she is slaying it. Jennifer Lawrence did a great job being that leader. It slayed me. It was also a very clever scene, like using all of their powers in such different ways. I was like, oh, this is so good. So they rescue the astronauts, but Jean gets left behind in the spaceship, and the Phoenix Force just legit possesses her. Now, in the trailer, I love how she screamed. She's like, ah! But that wasn't in the movie. That scream was not in the movie. There was a slight scream like beneath tons of music. Maybe it's because I was at an IMAX showing, like you couldn't really hear it, but I was expecting that big blood-curdling scream and it didn't really happen. As the Phoenix Force was like trying to get to her, she was like doing something to like keep it back or something. And at that one scene, she looked really video gamey, and I was like, ooh. And her hair was like pasted back for some reason, but other than that, the effects in the scene looked incredible. Anyways, Jean legit like explodes. They go and rescue her, and she gets back in, and her eyes are glowing a bit, but she's acting fine. Now, when they get home, Mystique is a little pissed at Charles because it was such a dangerous mission, and Jean almost died, and she does this whole speech about the women always save all the men, we should be the ex-women. I thought the scene was fine. I don't think it was cringy. And then Jean's powers kind of awaken and she runs away to find her dad, and the X-Men go and try to find her. This scene was so good. It was so action-packed with Quicksilver jumping on logs and Mystique just trying to talk to Jean like, you know, like family, and saying, we're family, girl. And then Jean accidentally kills Mystique. She literally like throws her, and Mystique gets impaled with like a log that legit looks like Wolverine's claw for some reason. It does. Jennifer Lawrence played this scene so well. She was like, I can't catch my breath. And it was so sad. Beast looking at her, and it was so sad. I loved her in this scene. But my issue with this scene is continuity. Rebecca Romaine Lettuce in the in the old X-Men movies, she's playing Mystique, and Mystique is alive. This is a prequel to those movies. So how is Mystique dead, and in the future, she's alive and she's evil? Like, what? Another continuity issue, at the end of X-Men Apocalypse, Jean goes Dark Phoenix, but in like a good way. She has the Phoenix Force in her. So it doesn't make sense to me that all of a sudden now she gets the Phoenix Force inside of her and it's new. Like, we knew this, we been new. So yeah, continuity has always been a huge issue with these X-Men movies, but whatever, I'm gonna try to let it slide. The way that Sophie Turner flies is really cool. She doesn't really fly, she just kind of like floats really fast. She's like, broop. And then basically, this was the point when I got bored. After Jennifer Lawrence died, I feel like the movie went downhill. Not because of that, just because it just got boring. It was so much dialogue with Jean like going to Magneto and then her leaving and then Magneto finding out that she killed Mystique, and it was so unexciting. It was just really unexciting. Now let's talk about Jessica Chastain. So she's an alien queen, a lot like a Skrull. I guess they're shapeshifters because it shows the aliens at first like arriving to Earth and they look kind of like Groot, but also mixed with the alien from Signs. You know what I'm talking about? I really like the alien design. They looked creepy. And basically, just like Skrulls in Captain Marvel, she sees this woman throwing a dinner party who is Jessica Chastain, and she just turns into her. So yeah, the aliens are on Earth because they've been following the Dark Phoenix because the Dark Phoenix Force destroyed their planet, which is also a lot like Skrulls. They're kind of like homeless, just like trying to navigate the universe, and they want Earth for their own. They want it as their home. So they're trying to get Jean to use her Phoenix Force powers to basically kill everyone and make Earth theirs. Which I thought was such a weird subplot. Like, I feel like we did not need Jessica Chastain's character or the aliens. I wanted Jean Grey to be the villain. And I feel like the aliens just took that role, and I didn't like that. I felt like they were just unneeded. So anyway, Jessica Chastain convinces her that everyone hates her and wants to kill her. So she gets kind of pissy. There's a big X-Men fight in New York. They all get captured. And during that time, Jean Grey transfers some of her powers to the alien because she doesn't want them anymore. So she's like, take it. And then there's this huge train fight scene where tons of aliens come at the X-Men, and it's just craziness, which I actually really liked this action sequence. Until it was revealed that now, because Jessica Chastain took some of her powers, she's now also a Dark Phoenix with her skin cracking. So we have two Dark Phoenixes. Does that not take away from Jean's impact of being the Dark Phoenix? To me, it just felt so redundant. Anyways, Jean kind of wakes up out of her rage and turns good and is like, I want to protect my family, and she finally actually fights people. She doesn't just like move her hands, she actually just like fights people and turns them into dust instantly. Well, not dust, it wasn't like Avengers, it was like more like crumbs. And I really like that sequence, but it lasted like 1 minute. She was literally like fighting people for 1 minute in the whole movie. The rest was just her moving her hands. Like, this is called Dark Phoenix, and we get literally 1 minute of her actually fighting people, which looked so cool. It's like, I feel like they didn't have the budget to make it longer and bigger or something, because something was lacking, y'all. And then basically her and Jessica Chastain face off for like 30 seconds. She brings her into the air, and she makes Jessica Chastain explode, and then she makes herself explode, and she turns into like sparkles, and then a big phoenix. And I was just like, this is the ending? This is what's happening? I was so disappointed. It was so anticlimactic. And when she was like making them both explode, they looked so video gamey. It literally looked half finished. And then at the very end, you see that she's still alive out there. You see like a little phoenix flying in the sky, and I was like, okay, that's it. In my non-spoiler review, I gave this movie a 5.5 out of 10, and I stand by that. It would be lower if the first 40 minutes weren't so good. So that's my opinion. I'm sorry if you disagree with me. I just had to get all that off my chest. Subscribe for more movie reviews and trailer reactions. Remember, I'm not a movie critic. I just love movies.